All right, I guess AC's dead again. I need to do a wellness check. Anyway, we'll talk about AC's sickness here in a little bit. We're also in agreement, almostinagreement@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. Go to our website, almostinagreement.com. Voter Guide 22's up there. I have scheduled Becky Massey. We're going to go over the 4 ballot items. She's going to tell us exactly what they actually mean and what they actually do and whether they're changing anything or not. We had a long conversation last week about how Amendment 1 doesn't really change anything, but it does change things in the future. Go there, check out my Voter Guide 22. I've got some interviews already on there. I'll have more interviews for these November ballots coming soon. Go to your favorite podcast provider, give us a like and a follow there. Share it with your friends, tell your friends about it. I don't know. We got a little intro to roll through, and then Max is in the room, Sam is in the room. Again, I don't know if AC is alive or not. We'll see. I think he moved though, right?
Kind of.
Half moved. All right. We'll make fun of him since he's not here. So what's up, fellas?
Howdy.
Hey.
Okay, I was saying, I thought for a second there, I thought you weren't in the room, even though I'm looking at you. I'm excited. I'm glad to be back in the flesh. Doing it over the phone is not the worst thing ever, but it's certainly not my favorite version of this. So I'm glad to be here and back in the room, sipping on some okay rum. I don't know. I don't know rum well enough to judge this on a real level. I mean, compared to AC's super bougie 75th anniversary something reserve, that was like $80 a bottle.
Yeah, I don't remember, like, comparatively.
I mean, it's drinkable. It's not bad. Like, it doesn't, it's smooth enough, like, that you could, it's got enough to it that you feel that alcohol in the swallow, but it's smooth enough that it's not like cheap whiskey where it's like, swallow, like, you don't have to, like, force the swallow on like, bad vodka.
Well, I think that's with any good
Aged.
alcohol.
Right.
I mean, even just like when I was in Russia drinking vodka, it was more like sipping wine rather than, doing shots and making it burn your throat kind of thing.
Do you want to tell people why we're experimenting with rum today, or you want to leave that a secret for now?
Oh, that we signed a lease on our rum bar.
Yeah. So
tomorrow.
look out down in you Happy Holler people. You got a beer, rum, and vape shop coming in, courtesy of Almost in Agreement.
Almost in Agreement. Sponsored by Almost in Agreement.
I was thinking about doing it. Like I was thinking about like throwing that in the intro and doing a sponsoring ourselves thing. It would be a way to launder money technically, and it wouldn't be illegal
to pay ourselves.
I mean, I could pay for paying me at least. It doesn't work for you because at least I don't know. I still have to work out some of the details. Since we're not making money, it's easy. But like, if we got to a point where we were selling ads and stuff like that, how I'd filter that down. Like, I mean, I'd pay you guys a percentage to be here, but it's like, all the actual legwork's mine, and
then the percentage of this.
I own the
percentage
business
of this room, like your percentage of your mortgage or whatever.
Yeah, I've talked to accounting about that, and she said we'd figure that out come end of the year because it doesn't really matter because we're not doing like quarterly reports or anything.
Yeah, you got to make some money first.
I'm getting paid. I get paid regularly, not for this show, but for the other show that's under the umbrella.
For what you spent, you're still,
Yeah, my balance sheet is not pretty, but that gets to go on my earnings this year, which I'm excited about.
That's cool.
So I'm not mad about being able to have these expenses treated as expenses instead of toys.
Of course.
Yeah.
I talked to AC today. He
is alive. Yeah,
he's halfway. They got like half their stuff in the garage there.
I know he was talking about like today the carpets went in.
Carpet was supposed to go in today.
Of course it's not.
And he had to call him and delay it because I guess he didn't have some of the stuff ready. So
yeah. And so, because as soon as you started that, I remembered he said, I want to say, like, I was like, the 13th is when he said the carpet was scheduled.
Yeah. So he was at Ultimate today, and then he left there and was going home and then going over there to do more stuff.
I mean, he's doing a lot to that place.
He's gutted like every room.
And he's also him, and so it's like did he take those things off the ceiling?
I have no idea.
He's really I really feel like they're just gonna be gone one day, and the missus is gonna be like, I like them because he hates them. But that's just it's like you have so much stuff to do, and you're trying to move in there, and you got a baby and all this kind of crap, and you will do the one extra thing that's going to take an extra week because it bothers you that much.
That was last week. The wife and I weren't doing anything, and I was like, "Hey, let's go see what AC's doing. Maybe need some help or stuff." Because we didn't really have anything going on. Called him, he didn't answer. Texted him, he didn't answer. And then that night he called me. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't answer. I'm just so busy with this remodel." And I was like, "Well, you'd be farther along if you answered your phone. We're coming over to help, but I don't know where it is, so I couldn't just go over there."
Yeah, I helped him get some drywall from the hardware store or whatever, and so I could probably find it again. It'd take me a little bit. I used to be really good at that. Like if I'd been someplace one time, I could go back like a year later without directions. Like, it's Bill's house. Yeah, I went to Bill's house a year ago. I could just go. Not quite. I'm losing my touch on that as of late.
If it's only got like a couple turns,
except for Morristown. Morristown is a black hole. I get lost every time I go into Morristown.
I can usually find a place if it's like one or two turns off the main road, but you get more than that, then I get lost. I'm like, I can get to the general area.
Right. It's over there somewhere. So, yeah, we were, I was looking up turkey dates because I still on my list of shit to do is to harvest my own turkey for Thanksgiving. So when I'm out for, or just anytime I'm out for archery, I need to, like, it's not clear to me because is Royal Blue a WMA or is it a state?
It is a WMA.
Okay.
So you have to look at the WMA's area for what they allow at what time.
So yeah, I need to check that. But statewide is, I can call Dominique Oakley and go to her house. She's in county, and Knox County is not on one of the banned counties down here on the one beardy list.
Now, do you have to use birdshot? I know for
it
deer
says
you have to use slugs.
number 4 or larger.
Yeah, number. I think it might be number 5 or larger.
I saw it a second ago.
Number
Sure
4.
Number 4. Yeah. Huh. Hunting equipment number 4 shot or smaller.
Number 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say smaller, but like it's larger.
Right. Larger number, smaller shot.
Number 4 or smaller number.
Or smaller number or smaller pellet. What's the number? So, relatively speaking, a number 4 and a number 8 pellet. What's the difference?
8s are smaller.
Right.
Smaller pellets.
Right.
So, is it number 4?
So, number 4 is a size.
Yeah.
And so, it's a larger number. So, number 4 or greater by number, but smaller by physical size.
It's like 4 is 4 balls to an ounce.
Okay.
And so, 8 would be... It would take 8 balls to make an ounce.
Right.
So, that's a good question. Now I'm questioning myself if smaller is a smaller number
or a smaller size. I would assume it's a smaller size because anything. I mean, a number 4. So
yeah, I guess you wouldn't want to shoot turkey with a buckshot.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It'd be. You're looking at a number 2 or a number 1, which is
Double
just a slug, just a bonk.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a lot of turkey meat left with a slug going in.
Well,
or it might bounce off their freaking
you want to shoot in the
feathers
head
anyway. Yeah, but I'm just saying it might not with archery, but with shotgun you do.
Yeah, I mean with archery too, but I don't know if
I'm not taking that shot. I'm putting that right through. I'm trying to get right through both wings and whatever chest cavity it is, and I'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, if you get it through a wing, you should be good to catch it.
Yeah. What was it? We were watching something the other night, and it said something about turkeys don't fly. I was like, bullshit.
They fly.
They fly,
sure,
and they're loud. They're loud as fuck when they fly. That's what got me for last time I ran into a gander. There's that geese. Is it a flock of turkey? What's the multiple turkey word?
I'd say a flock.
A gaggle?
Maybe it's a gaggle. Maybe it is a gaggle. Gaggle of geese.
Al Gore, tell me the truth. What is a group of turkey?
Gaggle sounds correct.
A rafter.
Nowhere
a
close.
rafter of turkeys.
A group of turkeys is called a rafter or a flock.
Oh,
according to The Spruce. A rafter. Interesting. Yeah, I ran into a rafter one of the later dates. I was up at Royal Blue last year. So like late November, December dates. When I was going up like every Sunday morning or whatever. And like it's so dumb. I felt like such an idiot because I ran into that same group on the way in, and they kind of made a little noise and wandered off, but it was still dark. But in the late morning when I was coming back out and it was well lit, it was an overcast, foggy day. But I was on the way back out, ran into that same group, almost the same exact spot, and they went nuts. They flew off and they were screaming the whole way. It scared the shit out of me. It's like, I knew you were there. You were there on my way out. Why wouldn't you be out there on my way back in? But they scared the crap out of me because they're so loud. Like I was like, it, sitting still for 2.5 hours, pretty silent, maybe a little wind noise. Then all of a sudden,
But it's always funny when you're deer hunting, you're sitting in a blind or sitting somewhere and you hear something like, oh, is that deer coming? Is that deer coming? You never hear deer walking, but you still think when you hear something that you're like, oh, here comes something. Here comes deer. You get excited, but it's like,
well, if they come tromping through, and you got a big old rack on them.
I've never yet heard a deer. I'm trying to think of a time where I've been sitting there and a deer came out or heard a deer. Now they just appear.
It's true. Usually when your eyes are closed. And then they disappear when your eyes open back up. So, I don't know. What's been going on this week? Anything exciting to talk about?
The Purge City.
The what?
Purge City.
What Purge City? Tell me more.
I thought you're the politics guy and like.
No, I mean, maybe I don't know.
The news guy. Chicago.
Oh, is that a long-term name, or is it newly been anointed said Purge City because
they took away bonds?
Took away bonds?
Did hear about that? Yeah, cash bonds.
Yeah, like it's illegal to.
I don't. Okay, right for bail.
For bail, yeah.
So you can't get a bond. It's cash bond only, so you can't.
No,
there's no bail at all.
There's no bail at all. If someone kidnaps you and takes you 7 states away, and they get arrested,
they can still remand you to custody.
No,
there's no. They can still remand you to custody.
No.
Whoa. All right.
No, they can't. If they put a bond up, they cannot put a bond up, and anybody that is currently waiting trial that's on a bond is being released.
I don't disagree with that.
It's like murder 2,
cash bail is
kidnapping, rape, armed robbery.
I mean, okay, so all right. I mean, I get where you're getting at here, but like, I don't know if like those top 10 like "This is America" phrases. It's especially in the legal system. What's the number one phrase of the legal system?
Innocent until proven guilty.
So why are you in jail if you haven't been proven guilty yet? You're suspected of a crime and you have to do time in jail. At least for a good hot minute here in Knoxville, at least, the majority of the inmate population in Knox County Penitentiary was awaiting trial because they couldn't afford bail.
Okay.
They're not. They've committed or they've been convicted of no crime, but they're in jail, and we're okay with that.
So someone goes on
because you're
somebody,
poor,
and then they get arrested, and they come out the next day.
Allegedly shoot somebody.
Okay.
I would say if you were witnessed,
they get out the next day, and then they can go on doing what they're. Or let's say they had a bunch of witnesses, and everybody knows what is that person going to go. They're going to go. Oh, I've already been in jail before. This is probably my third strike. I'm probably not going to go to jail, and they're going to run.
Maybe, but I mean, I would still think that there's a remand for.
Well, read the rules. Click on your thing.
Okay, NBCnews.com. That one or
no? Haji
safety. Yeah. AngryTowelhead.com. That's not the one I want to use. All right. Fox32Chicago.com. Illinois' SAFE-T Act, which will end cash bail, explained. Look what I've been shopping for. Chicago, a new state law that takes effect next year, is spurring pushback from Illinois law enforcement. It's called the SAFE-T Act, and it's aimed at reforming Illinois' cash bail system. A number of states' attorneys and sheriffs are sounding the alarm about the Illinois' plan to end cash bail. Judges have discretion in certain cases, like armed robbery is a case that is detainable. But for those other offenses you mentioned, second-degree murder, kidnapping, hate crimes, aggravated batteries, robberies, just to name a few, judges will not have discretion unless the person is a willful risk of imminent flight. That risk to their risk to the public and the risk to commit a future crime will not be a criteria. That is a quote from DuPage County State's Attorney Robert Berlin. I'll bet that's bullshit, but okay. Some state officials say it's going to make crime in Illinois worse. The new law goes into effect January 1st. Many members of the law enforcement community are working to have the current law amended. Quote, I'm very concerned about an increase in violent crime, but again, I do not want to stress that there is still time to fix it. And the state's attorneys are working very hard, as we have been for the last year and a half, to fix this law. It is very fixable, where we can eliminate cash bail, but make sure the right people are in custody and everybody else who's not a danger gets out.
So what is that? So they can still that makes it sound worse then, because now they're just going to be anyone that they don't want out, not even give them bail.
I mean, with that second quote, it does sound like that this one does have a little bit less less protections for like the. I have a hard time believing that first quote from this Robert Berlin, but the follow up quote continues the same premise. But if you are, I would be hard to believe that by law a judge can't determine that you are an imminent risk to the community and detain you and hold you and remand you until trial. I mean, really, and if the cops and the state's attorneys want to fix this, then you need to actually go through this whole speedy trial thing that we're supposed to have as part of the Fourth Amendment, right? Fourth Amendment. So the way to fix it is to not give enough time for the person to, because as soon as you miss a court date, then you should be detained, regardless, and have either a cash bail put in place in that system. If you miss, because the point was supposed to be, it was supposed to be a guarantee. It's a guarantor of you showing up for court, or a penalty for you not showing up for court, I guess is a better way to do it. The idea was supposed to be hey, you got trial on Wednesday, be here or you owe me $20,000.
Yeah.
Or we add $20,000 to the list of the shits that you got to deal with. You know, and so at some point that got flipped over where it now became, it's $20,000 for you to get out of jail until your court date in 6 months.
Yeah. So the question is, are they going to say that these people shouldn't get bond at all? So nobody's going to get bond?
I mean, it sounds.
It's weird that
it sounds to me that the only criteria is a flight risk, and I just don't feel like that's true.
Yeah, that's kind of weird too. Yeah, sounded like the only thing they could hold you for was if you were a flight risk.
Right. Hey, Judge, if you let me out of here, I'm going to shoot your mom. Well, I guess you gotta go let you go. I can't do anything about that.
But you live around town, right? And you have close community ties.
Right.
You're good.
You're an elected official, so your address is on file.
See, if somebody's in for second-degree murder, that just gives them time to get out of jail and go shoot all the witnesses.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. It just sounds really weird to me.
I get
There's something else about that can't look for him for 48 hours. There was something else in there. It was like the police chief of Chicago was talking about that, and I didn't quite get it, but he said something about like that gives them 48 hours before we can look for them. They can be in Alaska by that time.
Well, I'm sure there's extradition. You can extradite them from Alaska when they get arrested up there.
Well, he was something, and so at first when I saw that thing, I was like, oh, so they're not doing cash bails, or cash bonds, but they're putting like ankle bracelets on the people. That's kind of how I took it, cause that they had 48 hours before they could look for them. But I don't understand that part of it. There was something else in that.
My guess at it would be the assumption is that at best they couldn't get him a court date until at least 2 days down the road from their what would have been their bail hearing. Like, because you can only detain somebody. Like, so if you were like if you're arrested on suspicion or picked up on suspicion for questioning or whatever, and then they decide that through the questioning they want to press charges, there's a certain amount of time before they have to let you, or they have to get you bail. And since they don't have to get you bail now, they only have that same certain amount of time to get your court date. Or they have to let you go for a while. I just again, like I get if the founding principle that we're supposed to be on in the legal system is that you are innocent until proven guilty, then cash bail, especially and I'm not one to generally say this phrase, but especially how it disproportionately affects specifically the poor, but the poor being more often than not of color, but just the poor in general, which is, I think, the bigger fact to it, how it disproportionately affects the poor. The idea that you have Knox County, as low crime as we really have here, even though we've had a banner fucking year on it the last year and a half, 2 years, but, you know, as bad as it's been around here or whatever, that the majority of your population, so how much does it cost for Knox County Prison to house a whole bunch of people who aren't technically criminals yet.
So then going off that premise, we shouldn't arrest anybody for any reason.
No, you arrest people for crime.
No, you don't. You just give them a ticket because they're
I
innocent
mean,
until proven.
a summons to court.
Yeah, like you don't ever take them to jail. You never put them in handcuffs. You don't do anything. You're like, here's your ticket. You have to show up for court date on this day.
I mean, you just issue a summons to court. Maybe.
You know?
Speedy trial is Sixth Amendment.
Sixth Amendment, thank you. I apologize.
I had to double check. I'm like, I can't remember.
I got to pull up that app.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, if that's what you're saying, why they shouldn't have.
I mean, we need a cop.
then-
We need a cop in here to discuss what they're allowed to and not allowed to arrest you for in the first place, just on the spot. Like, I don't think.
I think they can, even a misdemeanor, they can take you to jail if they want to. If they want
And
to
you could
dicks
be and
about
you could
it.
be detained for questioning and stuff like that, but you have not been convicted of grand larceny or whatever the fuck it is until you've gone before a jury of your peers. And so I don't disagree with the premise that you should not be detained for a crime that you've not been convicted of yet. Now, the process of all the different stuff that goes on with the police and the detectives and the DA's office getting all the shit together to bring a case, that's their responsibility and that's their time that they got to figure out. And you shouldn't be punished for them having to take the time to do their job.
I'm just saying, if you're going with that premise, this guy's robbing a bank. He comes out with guns. The cops are there, like, put down the gun. The guy puts down the gun. They detain him. They're like, here's your ticket.
Here's your summons.
Be at court on the third Thursday of November.
I mean, I get where you're saying with it, and I would be curious to talk to somebody who could walk us through the process of how all that would go down. Because, again, if you were arrested, like if there's a warrant out for your arrest because you are suspected bank robber, and there's a warrant out for your arrest, and they go to your house, knock on your door, and pick you up. They go and they take you in, and there's a certain amount of time, and then you go before a judge for a bail hearing, and then they set, like the current model would be, they set the bail hearing, and then depending on how much they set bail for, X number of weeks or months down the road is your actual court date.
Yeah, your trial or whatever, yeah.
Right. And so, if there's a warrant out for your arrest for a bank robbery and you haven't run yet, no, well, now that I got caught, I'm going to run? I don't know. I would think you would already kind of be in the on-the-run format by then. But still, I don't disagree with that the judge can assess that you are an imminent flight risk. You have the means and motive and whatnot to skip jurisdiction so that we can't try you for this and we're going to keep you here. I don't disagree with that being a remand situation, but the idea of, I don't know. I think if a cop witnessed you murdering somebody in the street, they're allowed to arrest you right then and there, and the trial should be pretty damn quick. Like, what do we need the trial date getting started 2 months down the road for when you have the body cam footage on it? Get a jury together, have the trial, put the guy in jail, convicted in jail, and move on. I just don't like the idea that there are people who didn't commit crimes who can't afford bail or stuck in jail. Because what does that do in the long term? I mean, if that's not a reason for you to like plea out to a lesser, because you've already lost your job, you've probably already lost your relations with your family and all that shit. You've been in jail for a fucking week awaiting trial. You've already lost everything. Well, I've already been in for a week. I didn't do it, but, they said, well, it's 10 years. They'll give me 2 plus time served. I'm already fucked, so I might as well take that 2 years. I didn't do anything, but I can't afford to go out and get my job. I can't afford to post bail and keep my job and do all that stuff and hire a real attorney and all that kind of shit. So I'm fucked because the judge decided that it's $100,000 for me to get out of jail. And so,
yes, there's kind of situations.
I'm not a fan of cash bail, so I'm good with it. We'll see what happens. Like, it's going to be a bad. Chicago is not going to be a good determining factor on whether this is something that should be used in other places or not. But that's, I don't know. I just like, again, if it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, and that's cash bail is the inverse of that premise. You've already been found guilty. We're just waiting to go through the process, but you're already in jail.
Well, I mean, when they arrested you, that was guilty till proven innocent.
Right. You know, and how many people go? You know, I'd be curious again the stats. How many people have been arrested on suspicion of whatever, spent a significant amount of time in jail awaiting trial, that didn't commit the crime. And you know it's one of the founding fathers kind of phrases. Rather 100 criminals go free than one man spend a day in jail for a crime he didn't commit. Something like that. Screw that. Until you're that one man. Yeah, screw that. Woo, all right. I'm not down with that, but that's where we're at. So Max thinks Chicago's getting worse. I have no desire to go to Chicago anyway, so I don't have to deal with it. But I don't know. So this the chess one, that's not the one I wanted to bring up. Did I send that to the wrong group? This guy made the this Donnie Kirkland, I believe his name is.
So I was confused.
It does not have to do with the chess thing.
Okay. I was confused as shit. I was like, I don't know what the hell.
So this guy named Donnie Kirkland, Knoxville native, South Side, went to South Doyle. That's why I was asking AC if he might have known him. He looks about our age.
My wife didn't know him. She's I knew a Kirkland, but...
A Donald or a Danny?
It was a girl.
Oh, okay. Well, this Kirkland fellow at the Chapman Highway Walmart was going into that Walmart and stealing TVs and camping gear, and then going over to the, a Staples or Office Max over there in the other corner of the same parking lot.
Yes. And
selling said stolen goods out of one of his tents that he stole. Like he was in the park in the same shopping center, but in a different area of the shopping center, selling his stolen wares out of the back of his car or whatever he was doing. And so he made national, it was the Breakfast Club. It's a radio show. Charlemagne the God. Kind of a big deal. Anyway, he made some national coverage for the Darwin Award of the Week or whatever. They have a segment on their show where they do like the dumbest criminal out there.
Uh-huh.
It's like in the parking lot of the place you stole it from, you're selling your shit, and he got caught.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty stupid. I'm just trying to figure out how it made.
It's just that dumb. It's just somebody saw it that works there and said, "How dumb is this?" Because that's the whole premise of the bit that they do on the show is that just the dumb criminals. It's not that it's a criminal or not a criminal. It's what is a dumber crime to commit? Like selling it in the foyer of the same place you stole it from?
Yeah.
And so,
I'm not finding that entertaining.
I tried. I don't believe in entertainment anyway, so that's a bad one to pitch at me. But I threw that out there just because there's a potential connection. It's super local, and there's a potential connection that AC might have known him from high school.
What? Can't you find the news article? It says, what is his name? Donnie Kirkland.
No, I mean, I found his Facebook page and stuff like that, but it just says he went to South Doyle and says he didn't give his birth date or age or.
Well, isn't there always a news story and stuff? And it was like Donnie Kirkland, 42,
I don't know,
got caught. Blah blah blah.
I didn't do a lot of research on it.
Well, that would have eliminated a text message. If the guy's like 27.
This is a different Donnie Kirkland who looks like a champ. Yeah. It made it. I mean, it made it onto to Newsweek, so it was all on the cover of Newsweek. Paul Simon, not a stained cover of Paul Simon, but Paul Simon song. Me and Julio. Anybody? No, is anybody
Down
know
by
that
the
song?
schoolyard.
Yeah. Knoxville. All right. So this is the Newsweek article. A Knoxville, Tennessee man was arrested Saturday and has been accused of stealing televisions from Walmart and then selling them in the store's parking lot. Donald Kirkland was arrested around 9 p.m. after police found him with shoplifted property at the Chapman Highway Walmart, according to WVLT. Walmart theft statistics show the retailer is one of the worst. I don't give a fuck about Walmart's theft statistics. So this is more of an article. Kirkland later confessed that he had stolen 3 TVs, a karaoke machine, and some camping equipment. He also admitted to selling them in the parking lot, with a Walmart manager telling officers that Kirkland loaded one of the TVs in a cart he was using in the store. I think that's like, if I was in the store and I was going to buy something, I would put it in the cart. That's kind of how it works, right?
I saw him put it in his cart.
I wasn't going to carry it all the way out. It's not stupid.
Deputy found 27-year-old. No, that's a different thing.
Yeah. Spokane, Washington. Deputies found 27-year-old Jacob Locklard wearing a pair of sneakers.
Why does it say that one? Found 27-year-old.
I don't know. Mr. Kirkland is not. They did not bother going some details on Mr. Kirkland as a human being. Just, God, like I know my cache, like my internet cache knows what I've been shopping for, but it's really kind of annoying. I've already made my decision. Anyway, I don't know. I thought it was I thought it was a silly story. The chess one, I've been trying to figure it out. I'm not into chess enough to understand it.
I heard something about like a sensor in his foot or some like
right, but this
this
Magnus Carlsen guy is like
the greatest ever,
the greatest by a mile, and he lost in a tournament to some dude that is like the lowest ranked guy that made the tournament in the world chess rankings or whatever. And the big deal about it really is that this Magnus guy tweeted afterwards something about it, didn't really say much, but then as part of his tweet was a video of I think it was the Portuguese national team coach in a post-game press conference saying basically the coach or the manager, I guess it's at soccer, is saying, if I say anything, I'll get in trouble, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yes.
And so if you knew that story, the whole thing was he didn't want to say anything because if he said anything, he was going to imply the cheating that was happening and this, that, and the other, and that's why he didn't want to talk. And so everybody's basically saying, this Magnus guy is saying that I can't talk about the cheating going on because if I will get in trouble even though I'm the one exposing the problem, like this Portuguese soccer coach did back in whatever.
And it was a bigger deal because Magnus dropped out of the tournament.
Right, which is very rare. I don't quite understand how chess tournaments work because I think if you lose a match in a tournament, you're out of the tournament. But I guess it's right. A round robin or something like that. Or a double elimination tournament, but he was like fucking him out. They're going to let this guy get away with it or whatever. And the guy that he's soft accusing of cheating has admitted to cheating in online play because apparently during the pandemic, it became very normal to have these chess masters play online tournaments. And,
well, how would you, that's...
Right, and like chess tournaments don't do live feeds anymore. They put it on a 15-minute delay so you can't have somebody at home texting you. And there was some Russian guy apparently that used the bathroom a lot in some tournament. It's fascinating to me that chess is that important.
But okay, this is the question. You think of cheating in blackjack, someone's counting cards, they're trying to get, or someone's cheating Texas Hold'em because the guy behind the other guy saw his cards and he signaled to you that the guy's got a ace king. In chess, everybody can see the board. I would say if you moved a piece illegally and they didn't notice you moved that illegally, that could be cheating. And then they could just rewatch the thing and say, okay, yeah, he cheated. He moved his rook this way and it was supposed to go this way or whatever. And so I don't understand how you can cheat in chess.
I get it in the premises that it's like tennis, like tennis rules. As your coach in tennis is not allowed to talk to you during a match.
That doesn't make any sense.
Like when you're in in Wimbledon or whatever.
Hey, he's gonna hit it back to you after you hit it to him. Watch out for that.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but whatever. That's the way tennis works. Is like as soon as you get on the court, that was AC saying he's not coming. As soon as you enter the court, you're not allowed to talk to your coach until the finish of the match. And there's been times in the past where there's been accusations of cheating in that the coach is in the stands, because they're always in the stands, giving some sort of signal to the player on whatever. And I guess in tennis, it's like, well, this guy is doing, he's doing this series of things, pushing you this way, and then he's hitting it the other way, or whatever. There's all the strategy that goes on in tennis that you may not see while you're playing, but your coach that's sitting up in the stands can see it, and so they're not allowed to tell you about it. And I'm assuming that chess is the similar, that's the similar premise, is that once you enter the arena or the stage or whatever and sit down, you're not allowed to have a contact with any of your team, whether it's a coach or somebody that you work with.
Yeah, but I'm just I'm really trying to figure out, I don't know, maybe I'm just not that smart to understand. I understand how to play chess, but...
I know the rules, but I don't know any strategy or anything.
But if there was someone telling me a strategy during my game, if they were that good, then why are they not playing and me sitting back watching them?
Right. I don't. Yeah. Maybe, but I mean, again, if they're off somewhere else, they can be online, use it. Because it said something about there's chess engines that it's basically AI, computer AI. That because the best AI chess is going to beat this Grandmaster Carlsen most times. Yeah,
right. It was like 10 or 15 years ago. It was like Gary Kasparov did like 2 or 3 high-profile matches against, like Deep Blue. I think he did like a couple different computers.
There's like
he lost.
Yeah,
he lost at least one or two matches.
Okay. So if you're using a computer, that's better than Magnuson. But I was like thinking, if you're the best in the world, who would you care if you're not playing? If you're playing 100 people at the same time,
right? But yeah, I think that's the premise is that the computers are smart enough now that somebody somewhere else could be on a computer putting the moves in as you're doing it. Like basically, you're like if I was in a chess tournament and we had a way to signal me or whatever, right? You would be on a computer, and you would be playing my opponent's moves and telling me what the computer's doing, reacting to it.
I got
and then I make the move the computer's doing, and so essentially, this Grandmaster, who is the best human player in the world, who can't beat the best computer in the world, is now playing against the best computer in the world indirectly. Okay. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know what it was.
But like they were talking about signaling in his shoes, and I'm just trying to think like, does he have like little sensors on each toe, and each toe means like,
some sort of
he has
Morse
a shock
code.
in his pinky on this foot and his toe on this foot, and that means the rook needs to move to
rook to queen 5.
Yeah, you'd have to set up a system prior to it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but that'd be
this means this piece. This means
but I guess the moral is that it's a big deal. It's a Wall Street Journal story that I referenced in it. I've heard it somewhere else.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. I just don't understand.
Like chess is a big deal, and so there's value. I mean, it's a big enough deal. There's enough clout and money in it that it's worth cheating. Not that there's people that'll cheat and fucking pick up basketball games at the Y. There's something about, especially with dudes, but there's something about competition where people are willing to cheat for zero stakes. There's no stakes in this. There's nothing. It doesn't matter. I just beat you, and that's all that I care about. I'm willing to cheat.
I wanted to win,
and so that's the only reason I thought. Like I don't the idea that it's that important to me. But even though I get it, it's still just like that's what's weird about chess to me.
Well, how about this new that's cheating? It's cheating people out of money. The deep state cheating thing. You not John, who works for us. His niece's girlfriend.
Okay.
They're not dating anymore, but he knows her. His 5 people in his family got Cash App request for $5,000, and then right after Cash App, it was a video of the girl. And it was like she was in trouble, she needed money or whatever. But then the video was like, no, this is real, and it was a video of her voice and everything. And John played it for me, and I was like, it looked like a real person, everything.
Not deep state, deep fake.
Deep fake, that's it, yeah.
Okay. That's a significant term difference. Deep state and deep fake.
Deep fake. And John's
so like it's a legit ransom video.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the Al Qaeda's going to cut your head off style ransom video, but like this is a ransom video attached to a Cash App request.
Yeah, but it's not her.
Right, that's the deep fake part.
Yeah. But it looks, he's like, it sounds like her. It looks exactly like her. But
well, friends and family, don't worry about it. I'm not going to get scammed because if Cash App asks me for $5,000 and you send a video with it that says that you're going to kill my mom, sorry, Mom, I love you.
Yeah.
Not happening.
But I was like, that is crazy.
I mean,
that's a new Nigerian prince.
I mean, the long-term ramifications of this shit scares the fuck out of me. Like, I mean, I haven't seen anybody that I know on it, but like I've seen the Tom Cruise ones. Like those are the most popular ones, or whatever. The Tom Cruise ones, where it's like I met Tom Cruise in first class on some flight or something like that, and like there's just like little bits. It's like it's a little weird or whatever, but it's like I could, I'd buy it. And it's like in the grand scheme of things, like in all the conversation we have about the mistrust that people have in general. And it's like, I don't fucking know anymore. Like, at what point? Because, like, voice stuff and all that kind of shit.
I mean, like, people...
Like, we're dumb enough to be on here, so anybody can deepfake us, at least vocally at this point.
But, like, people getting charged with crimes, like, oh, that person was there. Look, have a video
right,
of
we have
this
video
person.
evidence. It's like...
Or politicians, like, I never said that. Yeah, you did. We have you on this press conference saying this and this and this.
Right,
and
it
that.
was super... It was like... ungodly cool on Forrest Gump. I remember first time I watched Forrest Gump, I was like, whoa, that's so cool. They've got, Forrest Gump in the room with Richard Nixon talking about getting shot in the butt or whichever. I can't remember which storyline it was when he met Nixon or whatever, but it's like, oh, that's so cool how they did that. And now it's scary. Like it was.
Now
you
can show Nancy Pelosi in a strip club giving a stripper money.
Right.
And be like, oh, that was Nancy Pelosi. I saw the video.
Right. It's scary. Like the long term implications of it is pretty fucking scary. And I don't know how you this is a Pandora's box. If there's ever a definitional Pandora's box situation, because there's no way. We've the FBI or whatever has figured out a method of decoding and going through the metadata and making sure that they could verify that this is a real video or not. Fuck, nobody can believe that either. So if I want to believe that Nancy Pelosi's at the strip club throwing 50s at the whore, I'm going to believe it. And if I don't want to believe it, I'm not. I'm going to believe that it was a deep fake, or I'm not going to believe it was a deep fake. It just depends on where I sit on the situation of what I'm being told.
I know. And so now it's going to make your lovely game of politics even more.
It's scary. It's fucking scary. Like for the sake of politics. I mean, and not even politics, but I mean, I think your example is probably more scary than the politics one. The politics has got its own level of, these are the people that have the nuclear football, and we don't know. We can't. It would be irresponsible to just be like, okay, yeah, that was them, when we see a video of them speaking anymore. But like your example scares me more than that one does. Because as you like to say, brother, it's politics and governance. Nothing fucking changes. They're going to keep doing whatever the fuck they want to do anyway. But it's like, that's like, I get a video as my mom, getting tortured by Al Qaeda or something like that. I'm going to freak the fuck out.
Yeah, well, she wasn't getting tortured or anything. She was just saying that she needed money, and she would push a video that trying to say that, oh, it's not a scam. It's really me.
Right.
Kind of thing.
But I'm just saying, either way, but it doesn't matter what the premise behind the video is. The idea that the video is trying to appeal to me on some emotional level, that's scary. That's I guess the point is whatever the appeal is, if it's a direct person that I know, especially like, again, like I said, like jokingly, like there's enough as mediocre as I am at sound engineering and making the show sound good, there's enough audio of us that if somebody wanted to try, they could be any one of us on a phone call.
Probably.
Like, hey Max, it's Seth. Can I get $20? Can you cash at me a couple grand? And it would sound exactly like what I just said.
Mm-hmm.
And well,
now it's more now.
Right. They actually have a direct version of it. But
he made it really easy.
Right. But I'm just saying, like that's just that I don't know what the long term is. Like it's the long term of that scares the shit out of me, because it's not even that good yet. And actually, the other time, and if you want to get a little bit tinfoil hat time on it, it's like, what do you think the CIA's version of it is right now? Forget the one that some random guy in Nigeria or whatever has in his scam. Like, what do you think the top level version of it is and is capable of compared to the consumer version?
Sorry, I was looking at my phone.
I'm saying, do you think the CIA has a better or worse version than the one that was used in this scam?
Oh, probably as good. It might be the CIA doing it.
Maybe. It might be the deep state. See, you accidentally was that Freudian slip that shit correctly.
So what would the CIA be using this for?
Apparently to scam money
get money out of old people.
I mean, Trump doesn't have to use the deep fake, and he got.
So I'm not even caught up. Is anything going on with Mar-a-Lago?
He's got the special master. The judges agreed to a special master. That's about it on that whole mess. But he is right now also being investigated in D.C. proper for some sort of fraud stuff, because he started a super PAC like immediately after he lost the election, on the premise of we're going to use this money to find the fraud, and hasn't done any of that. So there's I
think it was a Save America PAC.
Right. There's another loss. There's another, at least, I guess it's not a state because it's D.C., but a territory suit against an individual.
He should get the exact same thing Hillary got.
Nothing?
No, he did. He lost the election.
Well played. But Bannon got arrested?
He turned himself in. Yeah.
And that was part of the Build the Wall campaign finance thing. That was just a scam where it was like, hey, donate to us so we can help. We're going to keep building the wall privately because they didn't vote Trump back in to keep building the wall. So if you give us a donation.
And people gave him money?
Right. Bannon ran this, and Trump assisted it.
Jesus, people are stupid.
Yeah.
That's why everyone needs to not vote anymore.
Just stop voting. So the 5 people that bother.
There's nobody vote anymore.
No, we need more
whatsoever.
People. We need more people
one
voting.
Vote anymore.
We need more people voting. We need ranked choice. We need ranked choice, and we need more people voting. That is the solution. We need more people more engaged in what's going on. Because they're going to, like, there is some tiny amount of we're not going to get away with this on certain items that they try to do. There's certain stuff there. It's like we can't, like, of all the shit that they're not paying attention and we'll get away with, this isn't one of them, so we can't do that one. Not that we don't want to. It's just that we're not going to sneak this one through the whole mess.
What's the median income in the United States right now? What do we say?
56.
That's what politicians make.
I don't. We've had this before. Like, I think it should be the median income of the district they represent.
Okay, I'm good with that either.
I think that'd be more fun because it would put the incentive on. Well, I'm going to run and represent this poor district, and I can't afford it. So I need to make this district
makes more money.
Right. If my district,
I make more money.
Right. If my district comes up, then I come up. You know, I don't. I think it's a more reasonable look at. I think the question is what motivates people. Realistically, what motivates people?
Money.
And if that's an agreed upon answer, then we need to build incentive structures on that premise. And I think my idea of you make the median of what your constituency makes supports that premise. Mm-hmm. It's like, I want to make money. I want to make money. Well, I want to get into politics. I want to do community good, and I still want to make money. Well, if I push those things together and I do better for my community and I bring my community up, then I make more money. That's a win for me. Then that's the incentive. Like, because again, like, I haven't pitched this fit on this show in a while. I think the number one issue that we have is incentives. It's incentive structure. That's the problem we have with every fucking thing we do. The student loan forgiveness bullshit that's going on right now. If you think about it, like, who does that incentivize? That incentivizes the schools to keep charging what the fuck they want to charge, and that incentivizes the loans to keep going out. Mm-hmm. The companies that are providing these loans, hey, well, who gives a shit? We're going to get paid, whether it's the federal government or it's the individual. We're going to get paid, so we're going to keep giving them out. What incentive are we putting in place when we put these programs in? And I think if everything is thought of from that lens, it changes a lot of the ways we do things.
Well, I think if they, what is wrong with this microphone? There's like a hair sticking out of it. Is it your hair?
It's probably one of my beards. My beard hair's getting pretty out of control.
Like the student loan thing where somebody goes to college for 10 years and their payments are deferred, but their interest is not.
Right.
And they're paying interest. Would these people be doing these loans if, hey, interest and payments are deferred until that person gets out of college? Would they be so willing to be like, oh, well, let's give them money, give them money? By the time they get out of college, their monthly loan
Can you
is
default
doubled.
this? Can you default this with your bankruptcy because you got some ridiculously worthless degree? Am I going to keep giving you loans if you're never going to be able to realistically pay me back because the job that you could possibly get out of the degree you're asking for has zero
and they should be
societal value?
They should be able to be bankruptcy,
right. I think there should just take the government backing out, and that's all it really is. The government saying we guarantee these loans. Take the government saying, if you want to give the loan out, give the loan out.
Because anybody... And
then you take the risk of that loan failing, and you lose.
An 18-year-old kid that has no credit, nothing, has a zero credit score, could get a $100,000 loan. Right. Because they know that's guaranteed, unless the kid dies.
And pending, some of that could get willed and shit. Or not willed, but it can get deferred to...
If they had a co-signer, it would, but not if they just... student loans are fucking stupid.
I mean, so we went through that whole mess where we were trying to buy a house for my mother-in-law, right? It's kind of subsided as far as, with my father-in-law passing and all that kind of shit going on. Like the urgency has kind of passed, so we've kind of slowed down and backed off. I haven't looked at a house in like a month now. But it's like I can't get a reasonable loan in my situation because, it's a second house. You're not living there. There's a whole bunch of stuff that says
it's an investment.
That this is a risk for us to give you said loan. But it's like, I got the income to cover it. I've got this. I got that. I got all this different stuff going on. But it's like, this is a little bit more risky. So we're going to put things in place. Like we're going to put a higher interest rate on it. We're going to do all this other stuff. We're going to make you pay more down than you would in another situation like this kind of stuff. Because we're more concerned about this because of the other situation that's going on. But you're 18, 17 years old. You want to go get an underwater basket weaving degree from the University of some expensive ass shit. Here's money. Now, what would incentivize? Again, that goes back to my point. It's the incentives are what matters. What would incentivize Corner Bank to give a kid that loan? The only incentive is that the state is going to make sure it gets paid, and the state being the United States. But that there's the government backing says that no matter what happens, you're going to get paid. Well, fuck yeah. Can I get that? I've got a little bit of cash. I'll give a kid $100,000 right now to go to school. Can I get a guaranteed 5% for the next 15 years loan because I have a little bit of cash? Will the United States government guarantee that this random kid graduating from Bearden High School this year that I just gave $100,000 to go to school? Can I get that? I'm not a bank, but can I get that deal because I got the cash to give to the kid? I'll take that deal every fucking day of the week.
Can I get that loan and not go to school?
I don't care. As long as the government's backing it up, then I'm going to get mine back.
Can we go to UT and enroll and say we want $100,000 in loans at 2% and then drop out, have them pay us, and then drop out the minute classes start?
But like as an investor.
And then just take that loan as a 2% loan, but we're paying it right away, so we're not going to accrue all this interest over it.
Like I would like as much as banks are one of the top regulated industries in the United States, but they're also one of the top protected industries in the United States. And so I guess that's the exchange. We're going to regulate the shit out of you. We're going to have oversight. You're going to have committees. You're going to have all these fucking paperwork you have to do to be able to be a bank. But we're also going to make sure you never bust if you're big enough. And so I don't know. I'd rather have none of that. No protections, but no regulations. If you want to give a shady fucking loan out, give a shady loan out. You can't kill somebody for get your money back. That's just, that you can't. Like, what's the difference in in a student loan and a loan shark at this point? What's the difference really? I'm gonna get my money back, and I'll take it out in a pound of flesh if that's how I have to get it. Mm-hmm. What's the difference in a loan shark and a bank that holds a student loan? They're going to get theirs no matter what. Period. I think you should be able to lose. I think banks should lose from time to time. Banks make poor life choices. They should lose. Just like I make poor life choices, I lose.
But then when they had the whole banking, the mortgage thing, it's like, bail out the banks. They're already bailed out.
They shouldn't have been. That's what drives me crazy about it. They shouldn't be. Nobody should be. I can't think of an industry other than maybe utilities that should ever, and this goes to our Jackson, Mississippi conversation from last week, that should ever have a federal government bailout option even to begin to be discussed.
Yeah, but maybe that's just our...
is bankruptcy not a bailout, essentially?
It's a little bit.
Hey, I owe a shit ton of money.
It's a little bit.
Will you just make that zero again?
But as much as your debt goes to zero, it still costs you for years afterwards.
Yeah.
But like compare if we're going to use if we're going to try to compare it to a bank bailout that we've seen in our lifetime, no, it's not the same. Yes, in the very core sense of the term bailout, yes, I agree with you. But in the practical sense, you don't file bankruptcy. Most people. I guess there's some top-end crazy fucking Trump style, uses the bankruptcy system to his advantage kind of bullshit. But for most people, it is a, 10-year?
7.
But 10,
Really, yeah.
It's at least 4 or 5 years of serious problems trying to continue in the world that we live in now, in the debt in the debt fueled world that we live in. It's real hard to have a bankruptcy on your record in trying to move forward, because everything takes debt. You have to have debt to do anything. And so I agree with you on the base principle of it, but as you expand it, it's not quite the same, because I didn't get my bonus check that year, but the banks did. You know, the top executives of the banks got their bonus checks after getting bailed out.
You know, but that's like the MO of the United States, though. We're bailing out people all the time. You know,
no, but as
like England, France, Ukraine,
right? So I remember this, and this was like probably episode 20. I remember we had this conversation. It's like, what is a government supposed to do? Like, what is the responsibility? Like, what are they supposed to do? And I think bailing out the populace in times of need makes sense. But we don't bail out the populace anymore. We're not, like, I mean, even the stimulus checks in the pandemic, the majority of the money spent by the federal government was not bailing out me and you. Was not really helping out me and you. I don't know how much you guys got through the totality of the pandemic, and we got more because of PPP stuff. But the majority of those checks that we got in the whole bill that went along with it, that was like 15% of the total spent, because the airlines, which I advocated against and we talked about on the show, and we see the results that we get from bailing out airlines, is shitty airline service continues. But all the different stuff that they bailed out and they protected and they made sure could survive the fucking pandemic and shit like that has done no real good. And it was only 10-15% of the total spent that went to me and you. And then they blame that. That's where the inflation comes from. The inflation that we're dealing with now is because you got a check for $600.
I wonder how many people got, like, the percentage of people that got stimulus checks and was like, thank God I can pay these bills I need to pay.
I think there's plenty of people.
And what percentage was, woohoo, I'm going to Walmart and buying a new big screen TV.
There's plenty of those, too.
Or I'm going on vacation. Like, I mean, there's,
that's the point, though.
There's no way to...
The point of any of the stimmy checks, like anytime there's a stimulus check from the federal government, the point is that you spend it. The worst thing for the total economy is that you pay off debt with it. What they don't want you to do, and that's why they'll never give you a huge number, like $25,000. They don't want you to pay your mortgage off. They want you to go out there and buy shit with it. They want you to be able to continue paying rent, because that flows into the landlord being able to buy the shit that the landlord buys, and blah, 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 blah. They want you to spend that money. They don't want you to pay off debt with that money. They don't want you to save that money. They want you to spend that money, whether it's a fucking TV from Walmart or whatever. Which is, I mean, and again, like, I don't know. It's just the idea that the government to me ever is doing anything in a stimulatory fashion other than to the people as opposed to the business. Like, I don't know. The idea that a business should get help just doesn't make sense to me. I took the PPP loan, don't get me wrong. And I tried to take the second one, but we didn't qualify, so we didn't get it.
My father-in-law took a PPP loan for his business. And then he asked me a couple weeks ago. He was like, his business partner, which is son-in-law, was like, hey, he just got this letter that we have to pay back our money. And I was like, did you not file your paperwork that you were supposed to file? And he's like, well, he said he filed it. I was like, obviously not.
Or they didn't qualify.
Well, I mean, if you got the money, it was easy to... All you had to do was show that you're paying employees. But if you didn't file it, that's what happened, is guaranteed. They got the money and were like, woohoo, we got $5,000. And didn't do anything to show that how they're spending that money or whatever, or file the final paperwork or any of that kind of stuff. So now they got to pay that back. I was like...
Good.
I was like, who's your accountant? No. Chris is our accountant.
You fire Chris.
Yeah, his business partner. I was like, we have an accountant, we pay, and worth every penny.
Yeah. I mean, I remember calling the bank that we got the loan from for the PPP. It's like, what do you need from us, paperwork-wise, to get this forgiveness thing going? They're like, well, they haven't told us yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, how do we do this so that I make sure that I don't miss anything on the deadlines and all that kind of crap? You know, and it's like, well, we'll let you know as soon as we know something. So like a week later, I call them back, go through the same thing. I called them weekly. Just like, I just making sure, just checking in, just seeing where we're at on this whole thing. And then one time they're finally like, oh, we need this, this, and this. And I was like, okay, send it to the accountant. The accountant sent it to me. I sent it to them. Done.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder.
And I mean, if you,
I wonder. I bet there's a way to follow that up. Is how many people got PPP loans
that didn't
get forgiven.
I'm sure it's not that many because they made it pretty fucking easy. Because they made it. Because again, this goes to the incentive things. They made it for the banks that gave them. They made it for the bank. Like it was almost a penalty for the bank to not get it forgiven. And so I think the banks that gave them out probably put forth real effort to make sure that who they gave it out to got the paperwork they wanted, because the bank didn't necessarily want to give that loan, but gave that loan knowing that it was going to get forgiven if the paperwork came in.
Yeah,
so they gave that loan and went out and said, hey, give me the shit that I need so we can get this forgiven, because I don't want to chase you down to get this paid back. I just want this to be over. And so I think I would think that most banks, because again, it's an incentives game, the bank was incentivized to make sure that the people that took the loan did their paperwork, because the bank didn't want to have to make that another loan to put on the books, because then it's a debt that they have and they had paperwork and blah, blah, blah. Especially for like a credit union like we had. It's like that's something that they don't want to deal with that debt.
Oh, yeah, okay. So you want to hear something really funny?
No.
Talking about stupid businesses?
Okay, yes.
So GameStop is the dumbest company in the world. This is why. My 23-year-old daughter got a job at GameStop last Wednesday. Now,
doesn't she work for us?
No, that's my 20.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's the 20-year-old daughter.
Stepdaughter. Check.
The 23-year-old.
You said daughter, I get it, and I appreciate that, and I respect the idea that you take her in as your daughter, but it's your stepdaughter or half-daughter or whatever the fucking term is.
It wouldn't be half-daughter.
Step, whatever.
Is there? There's not a half-daughter.
It's your wife's kid. It's not yours.
Yeah. 22-year-old, not 23. She'll be 23 in March, but 22-year-old. She got a job at GameStop last Wednesday. Her only job she's had in her life, not even like little things, cutting grass for the neighbors, nothing like that, was about 6 months ago. She worked at Old Navy for maybe 2 weeks. She started at GameStop Wednesday. So she worked Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Saturday, they gave her keys to the store and says, you're opening Monday by yourself. And I'm like, she's like, oh, I'm just worried about this computer and ringing people up and stuff. And I was like, what kind of company after somebody, like, she's not somebody that came over from Walmart and was running.
She doesn't have a history of
She didn't have like a super history of stuff. And I was like, they're just like, she's by herself, opening up the store. Here you go.
Stupid or desperate. Those things aren't necessarily the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they have their own problems. They're only relevant because some regular people figured out how to game Wall Street.
Yeah.
Which is genius.
Did they make any money off that?
Who? GameStop?
Yeah.
Sort of. Like that. This is one of those things that, like, when people talk stock market, that I don't think people, like, I'm not sure I 100% understand, but I'm pretty close to thinking I get a good grip on it. Like, if Amazon is valued at whatever gajillion dollars, right? Mm-hmm. And they have 100,000 shares, and you divide that by whatever, and that's what a share is worth, right? And then, but for the most part, if you're going on, like, if I go right now onto a trade site and buy a share of Amazon, I buy the share of Amazon. It doesn't really change anything. Amazon doesn't do anything different because I own a share or anything like that. Now, when you get a weird situation like the GameStop where you all of a sudden have a bunch of people buying and the value goes way up. Now, directly, no, GameStop doesn't grow in value. Their valuation changes, but they don't necessarily. It's not like when you buy a share, you're not.
Yeah, you're correct.
Once it's on the exchange,
the CEO that had 1 million shares, if he sold,
he could start selling some off.
Sold some of his during
right, or even if the company itself owns shares in itself, that they now have the value of those shares to either loan against or sell and put cash into the business to operate. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change operations. Now, when people that work for the company and the CEO and stuff like that who own a bunch of shares can liquidate those shares to do things for the company with it and stuff like that is. But at the end of the day, everybody buys a bunch of GameStop stock price goes up, it doesn't necessarily change anything about GameStop.
No, it doesn't. But
It doesn't give GameStop $10 billion all of a sudden to start spending on new products.
GameStop would have had to sell some of their shares when it was high.
Right. And so it doesn't change. Like once it's in that public, once it's past the the IPO, initial public offer. Once the initial set of shares are sold, it doesn't really change anything in the functional. It changes total valuation, which the people that own and work for the company, or the company owns stock, it does change their asset values that they can loan against to do other different like financial games with, but it doesn't. You know, if I buy
they did make money because
if I buy a share of Amazon today, it's not that Amazon has I don't know what a share goes for right now. Let's say $120. If I spend $120 to buy one share of Amazon, it doesn't go into Amazon's bank account, and then they can spend that on product or staffing or any of the other shit. I buy that $120 share. I bought it from somebody else because it's already the share is a physical thing separate from the company.
That's correct, but not all the shares are sold.
Correct.
Like the owner, so if break it down simple, there's 10 shares of almost an agreement.
Right.
We sell 5 shares.
Right.
Somebody else wants to buy a share.
Right. We could be the one to sell it.
He can buy it from those 5 people, or he can buy it from us.
Right.
So if it's $100 a share right now when those 5 people buy it, and then it goes, we say it's worth $200 a share, and then they buy it. They don't buy it from one of them; they buy it from us. We made $100 more than what we were selling before.
Right.
So in that case,
but we lose percentage value of the company, and we have the board, we have control issues and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Right.
So there's
right. If in your 10 share scenario, and you know we make a business decision that we want to buy a new computer to run the system off of. Well, the computer cost $1,000. We have 5 shares. We'd be willing to sell them for $200 a piece. Somebody comes in and buys them $200 to buy another computer, but now we don't own the company anymore.
Yeah, because they had that. So, like with the whole Elon Musk buying Twitter and stuff, they couldn't stop him from buying 15% of the company.
Right.
Because they're open market shares that he bought.
Right, and that's where the board and stuff like that comes in, and it's different than. But again, it's different than. And the whole thing to me is that it's not a. It's not a, unless it's the decision of either the creator of the company, a Bezos or a Musk in Tesla or something like that. Unless he's selling his own shares and investing those into the company, it doesn't change the cash available to the company.
Well, it'd have to be if not all the shares are sold.
Right. Unless the company is selling the unsold shares, it doesn't necessarily.
Well, I'm just saying, if everyone that has an Amazon stock right now doesn't want to sell their stock, and I want to buy Amazon stock, I can still buy Amazon stock, right?
Well, I mean, somebody owns the stock. If nobody's selling,
is there a stockbroker listening? Can he call into the show?
If we were
555-1212.
But no, if nobody that owns a share wants to sell, then no.
Are you sure?
Right, because publicly traded means that somebody has said, "Hey, the New York Stock Exchange functionally is somebody saying, hey, I've got a share of this company. Give me $100." Or it's somebody on the other side of the room saying, I want to buy a share of this company. I've got $100. And it's those two people coming together in action, which gets that trade. If either party doesn't exist, it doesn't happen.
But
theoretically, it's not likely, but theoretically there could be, if there's 100,000 shares of Amazon and 50,000 are Bezos and the other 50,000 are spread across 25,000 people, so each person owns 2. If all of those 25,000 people don't want to sell their shares, and Bezos doesn't want to sell any of his shares, and there's people saying, hey, I want to buy. It doesn't happen.
Well, is that where the valuation of that stock, instead of it being worth $100, it's worth $110 because nobody's selling?
Right, because that's the open market. That's the open market game. It's like, okay, well, I said I'd offer $100. Nobody that has one is going to give me one. I'll offer $110. Well, nobody still wants to give me. I'll offer 120.
But I've never heard of a stock that you could not buy, was not able to.
I mean, because there's all. I mean, especially when you get into to these major companies and stuff like that, and especially when it's when it's the game of the stock market, it's not about whether I care about the company or not. There's always people buying and selling. I didn't buy Amazon because I wanted to be a part of this thing. I bought Amazon
I really
because
would
I
like
wanted to sell
somebody
it.
in this room that actually knew what they were talking about.
Okay, I think there is, but whatever.
No, I don't. I think you know some.
No, I know exactly. That's how it fucking works. That's how the stock market works. There's no obligation to sell. If somebody walks onto the floor and says, "I've got $1,000, I want to buy a piece of Amazon," and nobody that represents anybody that owns anything stock-wise in Amazon wants to take that $1,000, it doesn't happen. Now, there's tens of thousands of people that own shares and here and there and all this different stuff, and there's these brokers, and then there's these financial devices where companies can pre-buy and unbuy and do all this kind of... There's all sorts of weird side shit that's going on, but in the base form function of it is if nobody's selling, you have to keep throwing your price up until somebody's willing to sell as a buyer. If you're trying to buy it, you have to add value until somebody's willing to sell.
I agree with what your premise of what you're saying. I don't think you're completely accurate on what you're saying.
I mean, I think there's other shit going on, but I don't
think it is more complicated than that.
Oh, if it's more complicated,
I mean, what you're saying is the base, which I understand, but what I don't understand, what I'm saying is, what I don't understand is, I've never heard a stock being closed.
Right, because they're and
I know you're saying statistically wise.
So Boeing Company, right? So they closed today at $147.31. It's down $11 on the day. Apparently, on the after hours trading, they're up 55 cents, whatever. It opened at this. Its high was this, whatever. The volume, there's 8.498 million shares of Boeing on the market.
Mm-hmm.
So for 8.5 million, if only one person, if each share had one owner of 8.5 million people, do you think there's ever a time where 8.5 million people, one of them is not willing to sell?
Well, so this is what I'm saying. If I wanted to buy 1 million shares of Boeing right now, that is, 14% of the company. If I want to buy 1 million shares of Boeing, could I go on my E-Trade account and buy 1 million shares of Boeing?
You could put the offer. You could put the offer to. Now, when it gets to that level, the FCC kicks in.
Would
anyway.
it come back and go, "Oh, there's not that many shares that you can buy"?
What a shitty day! Look at every single stock that I have on my list is down. And those are all stocks that I own. Ouch!
Why didn't you sell Boeing back in the day?
Because we're at war, bro. We're still good.
Go look at Boeing in 2020. Where's that at?
That's not 2020. That's fucking 2017, 2018.
No. It goes down. Go look at 2020.
Yeah, 2020. January 1, 2020. 149.14.
I went down. Oh, that's where I was right there.
January 1, 21.
Yeah, I sold. I made a bunch of money off Boeing.
I mean,
I bought it in Corona and sold it.
We're gonna keep. I mean, we're gonna keep buying our way through this. Although apparently we assisted with some major wins in Ukraine, but the more again, when you get to that level, the FCC jumps in and it's a whole big fucking debacle. But theoretically, yes. If you had how many $1 million would you have to buy 1 million shares?
What's
147?
147 million.
147 million. If you walked into
147 would be 147.
If you walked onto the floor of the New York Stock Exchange or wherever Boeing is officially traded and said, "I want 1 million shares of Boeing." Now it's not going to stay at $147 a share. As you buy, it's going to start kicking up because people that own it are going to be like, a little bit more.
Start going,
a little bit more. It'll go up. As you're buying, they're going to go up. So the next person to sell you is going to be like, well, I need 150 for my share. And then the next person's 151 and 152. And so it's going to get more than that total. But yeah.
I think that's the olden days.
No. If there's a buy off, it goes up. That's the reality. That was the GameStop game.
I don't know.
Now, there's other financial constructs that go and play in and do all that kind of bullshit in it, but the basics of the game It's just, that's all it is I have one, you want one, how much you give me for it? How much am I willing to give it to you for?
So then,
it's about as free market as it gets, but it doesn't do anything for the company, and I think that's the big difference.
I can go on my Fidelity and put a buy-in for a certain price, and then it goes in my account.
Maybe.
I've never had one kick out.
Well, that's because, again, you're probably offering on companies that have millions of shares on the market, and there's millions of people that are willing to sell.
Just wonder how they guarantee that price.
Because they've been in the game long enough that they know they can find somebody to sell, or sell if they're close enough. And then with your fees and stuff, they're not going to lose.
But I wonder how they decide that company A is worth or has this set number of shares, and when they decide to go up in shares.
That's the company's business.
Well, I know the company will do divide, because I had one of my stocks just recently.
The split or whatever.
I had 100 shares, and then it went to 50 shares.
So they combine shares.
Or maybe, yeah, it went 50 shares, but my price went up.
Right. It should have doubled. It should have doubled instantaneously.
Yeah, but the company bought back shares.
Right.
But then I know the other thing, they do it the other way, where it's a split, where you have 100 shares. Now you have 200 shares, but your price went down.
And that's because the company owns a significant number of shares, and they know they can't sell them for $100 a share. So they split them. So now those $100 shares are worth $50, and they know they can sell them for $50. I don't think we can get people to buy for $100.
I don't think you know as much about the stock market.
Okay.
I think you know.
All right. Well, you find me some fucking financial.
Come on, you deal with politicians. I'm sure they all have stupid degrees in like accounting. One of those people know.
You know, my new rule is if you might be right, but you need to prove that I'm wrong. It's not my job to prove myself right.
No.
This is not an affirmative defense system.
I call you an idiot, and then you've got to prove that you're not.
No, you have to prove that I am.
Hey,
he's issued a challenge.
Yes.
Son of a
you are
bitch.
guilty to proven innocent.
Just to prove the fucking point, you go ahead and fucking ruin the name game, and I got to fucking go back and fix it. Anyway, there was an edit there, people. I apologize. I try to not edit, but stupid people say their real names when we're trying to pretend like they're not them and all that kind of shit. So yeah, anyway, find me somebody. I would be more than happy to talk to somebody that knows more about the stock market and or general economics than I do. But at least of the 3 3/4 that we do this show with on a regular basis, I'm pretty sure I am the professional among the group. Not to brag, I'm not trying to say anything like I'm special. But as far as the Fed and financial policy and shit like that goes, I win among this set of people. Speaking of, Alabama's figured out a new way to kill people. I don't know why that transition made sense, but I'm going with it. Not exactly sure, but it's some sort of nitrous to death.
Yeah, like they replace their oxygen with nitrogen. So is that like nitrogen narcosis?
I don't know.
I wonder if it's painful or if it's like more relaxing.
I'm sure you don't give a shit because you're hateful towards criminals or people that might be criminals.
Yeah, fuck them.
Fucking kill them the hard way.
I didn't think we need to bring back lynchings. You know, maybe hanging people or guillotine. That'd be a good.
Guillotine's fine. I wanted to explore the idea of, because lynching is just beating people to death.
No, I thought lynching is hanging.
You might end up in a hanging or whatever, but it's just generally a racist thing. So I don't know if you want to bring back lynching. It's just, lynching definitionally is race-based. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Help me out. Sam?
Well, for all my non-white people out there, I do apologize.
This goes to your fucking Africa trip thing. It's not that he wants... It's not a race thing. It's just that he wants people to be... People who deserve to be very badly abused by the state.
No, honestly, lynching, I've been watching a lot of Black Sails because, the whole pirate
thing, yeah.
Pirate thing, and so there's a lot of lynching going on. Is it real? See, I learned something new. I never really ever thought of that.
I mean, lynching's usually it's an extrajudicial trial by the mob that finishes with a brutal killing and sometimes hanging, but generally speaking, it's just you beat the fuck out of and drag around and do whatever. But at least in American association, it's usually associated with like that black guy raped my girlfriend.
Lynch
and
him.
instead of and this is post Civil War kind of shit. Instead of like a trial where we find out if he actually did said thing, the masses go and grab the guy out of his living room, beat him to death, and hang him from a tree to say this is what happens.
I always just think it's a hanging.
No, that would be a hanging.
Yeah. Wild Wild West. You know, they have lynchings, and I always they drag the guy out and hang him.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is just hanging, but generally, when there's that much animosity, people want to get their licks in too.
But generally,
Something like
but
that.
again, generally speaking, it
That'd
has
be a
to,
fucked up thing. They open up the jail cell and dragging the guy out there, and everyone's kicking
again,
him on the way
it's-
to the hanging.
generally speaking,
That's kinda cruel.
And maybe more correctly, definitionally speaking, a lynching has to do with extrajudicial. You don't go through the process of the courts. We have decided as a mass that this guy did the thing, and it may not necessarily be racist, but at least in U.S. history, it's usually a race-based thing. But it's usually like you did the thing. I don't care. We're not even waiting for a trial.
I see that. Lynch is more of a mob thing.
It doesn't matter if you can make bail or not, because whatever.
Yeah, well, in Chicago, you don't have
Bring
to.
it back around. All right.
But anyway, yeah. Does the guy get a choice? I thought you got a choice. Like
Some states do. You could pick how they kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some states still have firing squad.
that'd be
well,
cool
that was the thing with this guy. I guess he had agreed to it initially, and then there was something about him, like they lost his paperwork. But I want to say he
They'd lost his paperwork.
agreed to it like 3 or 4 years ago, but I think it was by injection. But then they asked him,
Hey, we got this.
I guess someone's putting on some kind of like gas mask for this nitrogen.
Well, it is in
Nitrogen
Alabama. It is in
hypoxia.
Alabama, so that makes sense. Like, Bubba, where'd you put his paperwork? I don't know, man. Give him get another one.
I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, like the problem with capital punishment to me is that it's, and I don't disagree that it should be a very high bar. There should be a very high bar, and it should be like well vetted, and it should go to the extreme of making sure that we are good with the idea that this guy was the guy that committed such a heinous crime that he deserves to die.
Yes.
The problem with it is that it's with the way the system works, it's not cost effective. Just leave him in a fucking box for the rest of his life. It's cheaper.
Yeah, how is it cheaper?
It just is.
That's what I thought for the longest
Between
time. but-
legals and all that kind of
Yeah,
shit,
it's-
because a death penalty case, like if you're tried in a death penalty case, your appeal process is a little bit different, and you have a couple extra appeals through the process. And there's as far as the legal costs, they go up significantly. So a life in prison without the possibility of parole sentence versus a death sentence is cheaper.
Bullshit.
Okay.
It's true.
It's people making you guys believe that.
Oh, okay. And might be. You're right. The deep fake is out there. They've been deep faking me for fucking 30 years.
Like they're like, oh, this lawyer's got to pay. This judge has got to sit there. That judge is going to fucking sit there in that courtroom no matter what. He's on a salary position.
Okay, so if we
Those lawyers are salary positions. He's probably has a public defender. Or if he's paying for his own lawyer. Like, how is it costing more money? More money than to feed that person for the next 30 years.
I mean, we could again find me a
Yeah, I mean, you could break it down and say, well, if he's in front of the judge, it costs the court this much to have this person there, but those people are going to be there. It's not like
I mean, how many more judges does it take?
No, people
to
aren't just
cover?
going to. They don't just work 9 to 5 at the jail. They're only going to go there for cases that are assigned to them. That's what court costs are.
Is it what-
or
I
what
mean-
it costs the court to
so,
try that?
So are you telling me that let's say a Knox County judge makes less money if nobody commits a crime this year?
No. If it was consistent,
No,
hold on, time out.
zero
No,
crime.
Time out.
But prosecutors
If it was
go off
consistent-
of billable time.
But the prosecutors are separate. And you're
Or
right there.
The
No, 100%.
prosecutors and
But if
sorry,
it was,
any
if
attorney.
if it was consistent, then no. But we would have less judges.
What I'm saying is that judge is there
If we have
no matter what.
if we have five, if we have I can't remember. We just voted a bunch of them fucking in. But if we have, I think Knox County has 3 criminal court judges. If the caseload wasn't there consistently, I would hope, and you're probably right because this is an elected official best, and these people want to keep their jobs, blah 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 blah. But in the reasonable terminology of the way the world should work, I would think that if there was years of zero crime or very little crime, that 3 judges would drop to 2.
So
And it's a $175,000-$200,000 a year job.
There's a very easy way to
Not
say
to mention that we're talking federal judges. We're talking at least state Supreme Court judges or federal judges that are getting involved in this one. This isn't just fucking, county local judges for $175,000. These are the $200,000, $300,000 judges.
So we're not talking about. If you look at how many cases were tried this year in Knox County versus how many cases were tried last year in Knox County, and then take.
I'd say the DA's office has a more accurate pickup of that because there's more cases. The DA's office.
And if you can show me that, like, this many people, or cost this much, and is it a big difference?
I would say that
we had 200 more trials this year.
I'll agree with you on the judges part of it that it probably wouldn't change that much in the total cost of the county for judges. But I'd say the public defender's office and the DA's office would have a functional either maybe not cost change but caseload change.
Have you seen Better Call Saul? They don't pay those public defenders shit.
I mean,
you've not seen that, have you?
No, I only saw him on Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. Yeah, Better Call Saul, like he goes, he's just a lawyer.
He's a dirty lawyer.
He goes to things like, "What do you got today?" And they're like, "We got this case. It's $50." He's like, "All right, I'll take it."
I mean, that was AC with his little trip down to Chattanooga-ish area. I guessed too close when we did the show. It's like the game is not guilt or innocence, though. That's part of the problem too. It's a glad hand game and shit like that, and that's not.
Well, I'm just saying that by saying that somebody on death row is cheaper to keep them life imprisonment versus killing them. I don't believe that's cheaper. I mean, like, you would really have to show me numbers that prove that. Like, how many?
Well, to use your reference on me in reverse, I call bullshit on you. You prove it to me.
Okay, so how many people did Alabama kill last year?
I don't know.
I know Texas is high.
You prove it to me.
And so if let's say there's 30. Is them having a 30 caseload less than those 30 people being in prison for another 20, 30 years?
I mean, I know that in a death penalty case there is more options for appeal. There's more options at play, which I think there should be.
Because I don't have a problem with that.
If the state's going to fucking murder somebody, I mean, I think the same level of things should go to when the state murders people across the world, but whatever.
Geez, do we even have like people can comment on these shows after they're posted, right?
Sometimes.
Can we have somebody that like knows something about this kind of shit we talk about and like fact check us and correct us? Like, I know there's people that don't have anything to do with their life that can go and Google this shit for us.
Way to encourage them. Like, you're a fucking loser. Spend your time doing shit that we're too lazy to do.
I mean, there's people on TikTok that prove shit people wrong. Like, can they not do that on our show?
I mean, they could.
We don't have to fact check anything.
We just need more listeners.
We just need people to tell us we are idiots.
I've been more than willing to blame the voters for problems that we have. I will blame voters for the problems that we have in society at large. I'm not going to blame listeners for not correcting me because I'm smarter than you are.
I know I'm not smarter than the 4 listeners we have. But the other question is, do you want to be that guy that tests out the first time? Hey, it worked. We killed a bunch of rats with this. It worked perfectly.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, you're going to kill me either way. This might not be as bad.
It might not be as bad.
I might take my chances. I don't know.
And if they're unsuccessful, does he get to live? Like, what's ruling on that? They do it, and they're like, well, fuck. He didn't die.
You know what that question costs? Money. The answer to that question costs money because it's like, hey, you did the process and he didn't die. Well, now what?
Yeah.
Does he get to go? Is he free?
Is he free? You
tried to kill him and failed.
Maybe that's why he's like, hell yeah, I'll do it.
Like, if the firing squad misses, do you get to walk out of the jail tomorrow?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure if you were a good lawyer, wanted to make your name because you're not making any money, you'd be like, hey, you sentenced to death by firing squad and they all missed.
Yeah.
Now what? You get to kill him again? I mean, how's that work? Sam, what are you looking at?
I was just doing a quick Google of why death penalty cases are more expensive than life sentence.
What are you seeing? What do you do? Please educate Max, because I don't know how to do it.
First little thing I ran into, 2010 report prepared for the Judicial Conference of the United States found that between 1989 and 1997, the median cost of federal death penalty cases that went to trial was $270,000. Between 1998 and 2004, it had grown to $620,000.
That's just the initial trial?
Yeah, I think it's just talking about the initial trial itself.
So is that more expensive than a life imprisonment trial? So, I mean, there's a lot of things you got to look at the initial trials for those, which I think those would probably be the same. Then you got to look at
apparently
appeals.
I'm not mad at this fucking rum, apparently.
You got to look at how many appeals they get. What does that cost? Like, how many more appeals does
right?
And that's part of it that goes
death
into
row
that's what they were saying
versus a life imprisonment without possibility of parole get? Like, do they get the same amount of?
So I'm assuming they're saying like that on average, death penalty cases are having more appeals of either trying to appeal the ruling or appeal the sentence.
I know if it's me, my last meal is going to be like that gold leaf tomahawk.
Are you sure?
Steak.
Are you sure it's not going to be mango chili?
Dude, it might be mango chili. I don't know. No. My last meal is not going to be vegan. I promise you that. All right, so for the 4 listeners or whatever the fucking bullshit, we're going to go on that fucking premise. We're opening third store. It's pirate themed. Black Sails. Pirates of the Caribbean. All the cool shit. And so this place is going to have some food in it. And so I figure with the health department restrictions that we're going to have in the kitchen that we have, we need to find some food options with the restrictions that we're going to have in the kitchen that we're going to have built in the place. Chili is an easy thing that fits inside the health department. Trying to stay thematically in there. I go and I find a black bean mango chili recipe that's vegan. We're also in Happy Holler, which I think vegan will sell to. Throw it out there. It's good. It's not great. I wouldn't make it for myself on purpose. I wouldn't order it on a menu. I'm also not vegan.
Yeah. No, like I said, it was not bad.
It's a vegan option.
It didn't have a bite to it. Like when you bite chili, it was more.
I've got plans.
My wife said it great. She's like, it's like soup.
I've got adjustments that I already want to make to the general premise recipe. I want to add corn. I want to add.
I think if you had corn and more beans and it had a bite to it,
I want to add a second bean, and I want to add a little more spice to it.
I think you need to add like 6 beans.
I might.
I think you had try garbanzo beans in that. That would be great because garbanzo beans. I put garbanzo beans in my chili, and it holds up, but it gives you a bite to that bite.
I've not tried that yet. I know you've told me about that before in your other chili recipes. The idea of chickpeas.
Oh wait! We're talking vegans, Happy Holler.
I know. I agree with you.
Chickpea falls right.
But this is me jumping on board. I'm going to pick this apart from a me standard, not from a vegan or whatever standard. It's like I don't know. Like I've done homemade hummus and stuff like that, and I like chickpeas. And I like hummus, but I just feel like they'd be so mushy.
They don't mush at all.
Then because I would like a light color bean. I think with that chili recipe with some light color additive to it, so it's very like because I was going to take like the original recipe had green pepper. I'm going to leave the green pepper in there. Add red, add yellow, add a couple of lighter color beans to it, and make it spicier.
Chickpea and corn. Chickpea and corn would give it a bite. That was the thing. It was mush. It was like you were. It was the
mine. I had it still on low like. I pulled it out. I pulled the portion I made out and took to you on my way out the door because it wasn't done before I went to bed,
yeah.
And it still wasn't quite there when I packaged it for you. And then when I got home from work, it was overdone, and I was like, "This is okay." It needed probably 3 more hours in the crock pot, and it needs some more variation in bean and stuff to it. So I think corn, I think like a lima bean or like a white bean.
Some white bean, navy bean or something like that. Like if you're putting on a hot dog, if you're putting it on nachos, you're putting it on French fries, where you have a bite to something else, it'd be good. Because it had great flavor. It had really good flavor. It was just the not having some meat in there, obviously
Right.
because vegan. But
And the recipe called for some fresh mango and fresh cilantro and a lime wedge as the garnish, which I could see that adding that little pop of fucking sour out of the lime. I'm not mad at it. Like, I get it where it's going, and it just needs a little tweaking. I'm excited about it. I think it could be our signature dish.
I want to try it with the chickpeas
And I'm going to call
corn.
it, it's going to be barbarian chili.
Barbarian chili.
It fits thematically. It throws in a nod to the production company. It's a win-win for me.
There you go.
That's where I'm at on
I
it.
want to try it with the chickpea and the corn.
Okay.
At first, I was like, I don't.
Well,
mango chili.
My
screw
plan is
that.
to do this Sunday. I was going to do a jambalaya. Like, I was going to take a jambalaya and kind of fuck with it and make a jambalaya with sausage. Because that's another menu item that I want to play with on there.
I think that'd be a special jambalaya. In my history, does not hold well over a period of time.
Okay.
That's it, because it kind of gets dry. It gets more. You know, jambalaya is more clumpy.
Yeah.
It gets more the moisture kind of loose.
Yeah, some red beans and rice, jambalaya,
I
some
told
gumbo.
Sam, I told him, I was like, that's fine. I'll just throw some Philly steak meat in it, and it'll be good chili.
I mean, whatever. It's again, I like that's my goal and what I'm trying to fuck around with this menu is to give it some Caribbean feel, some unique nature to it, but have it modifiable through the other stuff that we have. Because the goal, the goal to me is if we're gonna have 6 pans, all 6 pans can be in one plate.
You're down Thursday, about 1. You're at the store. Got a guy bringing us some pulled pork to try.
Okay, I want to do. I'm going to talk to my dad because I think we could do the scampi thing pretty easy. Because I think we could just throw it into and let it melt, and let the hot plate, or not the hot plate, but the steam table cook the shrimp, and it'll get close enough. And it could be at least pescatarian. It won't be vegetarian. But my dad's fucking. He calls it barbecue shrimp. I don't understand it. Like the word barbecue.
It's not in there. It's
And
shrimp scampi.
It's just, it's a fucking melt your face spicy shrimp scampi, and I love it. Like, this is one of those like our summer beach trip that we do. That is on the menu. It's not a question. You schedule the beach trip. That is on the menu at some point during the beach trip. And
Well, why have you not done it for hunting then?
Because I don't know, seafood in the fucking woods doesn't really mix. I'll do it this year if you want.
There's a whole other thing we still need to figure out. Too.
I know. We got to figure out, where do we live for the fucking couple days we were there. I saw a house, a camper. It's like 14, but it's a smaller one. Like, that's the one that I saw. I was like, oh, that's perfect for me.
Yeah, that's one. I've been looking through campers too, and I'm like, damn it! If there was one more, like, we just need one of those bunk campers.
Yeah.
Got like 4 bunks. We got the rest. Put a nice little sofa seating area in it.
I don't know. Get us a fucking 20-foot box trailer. And we to me, what?
That's what my buddy Todd has. It's called the disco trailer.
But I mean, it's like, okay, so like, to me, like, the one thing that we don't ever have, and we've never had for one reason or the other, is a toilet. But we've never had a toilet. And the only reason not having a toilet would be a problem is because we're at the campsite instead of being out in it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, like, let's get us like a, just,
Well, for the campsite, I have not checked with him, but they might have bathrooms and showers.
they won't be open. They got to shut that shit down.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe that'd
Who
be worth
knows?
checking, because I mean, if it's literally fucking okay, so we have a box trailer with a where we open the back doors to the box trailer. We have a generator that we set in it, and when we're there, we take it out, set it on the side, crank the generator up. Have a couple of fucking
We don't need
heaters.
we don't need generator.
Oh yeah, we're plugged in. We
plug
have
in.
a couple of fucking space heaters
Yeah.
and
A grill. That's all we need.
couches and grill, and then we're good to go.
But honestly, finding a trailer that works would be perfect
Yeah.
because we have electrical and sewer.
I forgot about that part too. So yeah, we just gotta fucking. I mean, this goes the whole conversation. You and I just pick a thing and just fucking do it,
Yeah.
and we'll charge these bitches rent and
Yeah.
call it a day.
$10 a day, dog.
$10 a day to hang out with me.
15 if you want to use the toilet.
Well, it's 7. It's 7 to me and 4 to him. But figure out the math.
Bring your own teepee.
Good God, I had the worst weekend in football maybe in my life.
Did you see how many people went out last man?
I mean, I couldn't fucking okay. So I teased Denver to a fucking pick. Well, it's a half point, but a pick in under 70 or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
And Denver fucking loses that game last night. Like it was, I couldn't pick a winner to save my life this weekend.
So last man we had 360,
something like that. I'm not I thought about it. Like I lost both of mine,
and there is 214 went out.
That's not abnormal. That's a little bit high.
That's high. That's high.
Like half is not abnormal. That's a little bit high. But I mean, like I thought about it because I would have took Denver Monday and lost again if I would have, because like
if he could have rebought in the past, yeah.
And people have done that in the past. I don't know if that's still a thing, but like I could have bought in for a Sunday or Monday night game, and I would have.
I had 3 picks, lost 2.
I would have probably picked Tampa, and so I'd still be alive.
The wife picked Tampa. She was like, "Oh, all these people," because I was showing her the grid, and it was like the top 5 games or top 6 games. 5 of the top 6 games lost.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Look at all these people. How many people went out there?" I was like, 47 people went on that game. She's like, "I was the only one that picked." I think it was 2 people. 2 people picked Tampa. She's like, "These people don't know what they're talking about."
I mean, like fucking Cincinnati, like, missed field goals. Like, I mean, that fucking mess in the Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game.
Well, you know what I didn't understand?
Tennessee game.
There was someone in our league had 6 picks. He took 3 on Buffalo and 3 on the Rams. Makes no sense to me.
I mean, he's guaranteed to get through week 1.
Yeah, but still, like,
I mean, it's the most killer week. I mean, it's the most. He as an individual is better than the average, so I can't blame him. I mean,
he's probably went out week 1 the last 3 weeks or what the rest 3 years.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, mathematically speaking, he beat the average this year. He is 50% win rate, which the rest of the league is less than that.
Yeah,
so I mean, but I mean, like, fucking college ball killed me. Like, I couldn't fucking pick a winner at all. Let me see. I forgot what the fuck it is. We changed fucking bullshit.
What are you Googling?
I'm trying to find my fucking bookie site. Yeah, fuck, I don't know. Do it on my phone.
DraftKings?
Yeah, that's
Caesar Sportsbook?
Yeah, it's a legal one. That's what I do. Yes, absolutely.
Then I see the commercial with all the Mannings.
It's a good commercial. Cooper Manning is maybe the funniest person on the planet. Let's see.
Let's see how bad you did. Yes, you are bad. I said starting balance, and then I saw current balance.
Well, because I settled, and so I'm back to 0. So 9-8, 9-10. Okay, so 2-team teaser: Buffalo and Buffalo +4 and Buffalo over 46. Loser. Boise State, New Mexico over 43. Won that one. 3-team teaser: Arkansas State, Southern Miss, Alabama. Alabama -11 against Texas.
I about lost that game.
Yeah. Tennessee, Pittsburgh over 62. 61 in over fucking time. Like, that was the worst. I shouldn't have done it. But we went here with that overtime. I was like, yes. Just need to make it to 2 rounds overtime, and I'm guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And Pittsburgh couldn't score. All Pittsburgh had to do was score the touchdown and miss the fucking extra point. And I was fine. Couldn't do it. Kent State, Oklahoma over 72. I like my big overs. I will stick to that, though. I still like my big overs. 72 wasn't big enough. But Kentucky was a winner. Chicago was a winner. Back into Pro Bowl on Sunday. Cleveland was a winner. Bengals, fucking losers. and that killed me on Last Man. KC in the over was a winner. The Giants was a winner. Packers was a loser. Fucking Packers was a loser. Over was a loser. Fucking loser. Anyway. It was a bad fucking weekend. I'm mad at my Packers. Which, I don't know. It doesn't, like... As a Packers fan, I don't really fucking care. This is not abnormal. The last couple of years, Packers looks like shit the first 2 or 3 weeks. Because this is Packers preseason. Green Bay started Sunday. Like most of the starters didn't play any preseason.
Yeah. Lost my fantasy game, and I had Broncos wide receiver, not Judy. Damn it.
I don't know.
Sutton?
Sure. I'll say yes to that.
Anyway, I just needed him to, like, score a touchdown. There was, like, 3 throws into the end zone for it. I was like, I just need him to score a touchdown. Like, I win my fantasy league. No.
Nope.
I lost by 2 points.
Well, I'll try to get Seth on maybe next week. I'll try to get Seth on, and we'll talk fantasy. He can help you out.
Yeah. Well, my problem is I'm in 2 leagues, and one of the drafts was on my D&D day.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. You missed both of them.
I missed fucking both of them. Fucking.
And the one guy you traded for or picked up off the
waiver list. He shot
he
somebody.
got shot.
He got shot, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
At least I don't have Prescott.
Did you watch? I mean, I'm assuming you watched the Tampa game.
Yes.
Did you see Dak's fucking helmet? Not Dak. I'm sorry.
He's out. Brady?
No. Zeke's.
No.
Like that helmet was weird. The running back for
Yeah.
Zeke Elliott or whatever. Like remember the old punter helmets that had just had the one bar?
Yeah. I didn't notice his helmet.
Like there was a couple of Cowboys players that had it. I didn't notice it anywhere else. I didn't notice it at all in other games I watched all day either. But like Zeke's helmet was a dark ass tent visor, but there was no frame on the top half. Like you know how like the old visors had like it was like a full face mask and the visor was underneath it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Like this one was like there was a visor and then there was like a mouth guard of like cage. There was no top half of the cage part of the face mask at all.
Huh? I didn't notice. I'll have to look next week.
Yeah, it was weird. I
did notice the difference between the helmets in college versus NFL. Like NFLs are still one solid pieced helmet. It seems like, and college they have all these like little compartments that look like I don't know pressure plates or something.
Yeah.
Like. On them, they're way different than the NFL helmets.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that too. But yeah,
on their forehead, they have like a cutout part,
right? It's like
and then on the back, they have like a little cutout part where the NFL helmets are still like one solid.
Yeah, but that is the Ezekiel helmet. There's a couple of Cowboys that had it, but I didn't see it anywhere else.
Well, here, Google. I bet you can Google it. Say Ezekiel Elliott's helmet.
Like I could spell Ezekiel right now.
So Elliott Dallas helmet.
Look at that spelling.
Oh, it was like the third thing. Yeah, right there.
Ezekiel helmet 2022. See what I'm saying? Like there's no frame to the top half.
Oh yeah, it is just like a couple bars down at the bottom.
And so, like, I don't know what the deal is. Like, whatever. I mean, yeah.
He doesn't like get his eyes gouged out.
I mean, apparently, like, you have to have a visor at all, you have to appeal to the NFL. Like, you can't just say, I want a visor.
Now, his helmet is more like some of the college players. Or maybe I have it backwards. Maybe the NFLs are more compartmental.
Well, a couple games I saw on Saturday, I saw some college players that had a thin visor right around the eyes. And I wondered if it was in 4 positions. I think I saw a couple quarterbacks that had it. If it kept, people from sticking their fingers in their eyes, when they're kind of coming at you, trying to tackle you. Well, or same with the receivers, a bunch of hands up in the air.
Right there. Why'd you go away?
Oh, because I thought we were done talking about it.
Like, look how it has like a
The cutout up here.
Yeah, that cutout kind of thing.
It's for ventilation.
No, it's for pressure and shit. And so like the plastic is pushing back for a certain amount, and the padding underneath is. And it's a concussion helmet. Like they're trying to reduce the concussions of the game, which I don't disagree with.
No, I think it's a good thing.
But
now, you watched the Alabama game?
yes,
That targeting in the end zone.
I was not on for that part. The one thing, like,
It-
so what's
it
the
was-
deal with the horns down thing? Like that was confusing to me. Like apparently there was like a fine or a penalty associated with the Alabama players doing the horns down.
I don't know. That's
As
a
a
Texas,
taunting?
That's a Texas.
Right.
thing.
The Texas is the horns up, and so like the opponent being like "fuck you, horns down, bitches."
No, I don't know.
It was apparently like maybe it's a gang sign or something like that. I don't understand it. Like it was a big fucking deal because like there's a clip of Saban like doing his jog to the middle of the field to shake hands and get the fuck out of there because they barely snuck out a win that they should have beat the shit out of a team. Where like as he's jogging out, he sees a player doing it. He's fucking screaming at the player, "Stop the fucking horns down!" Or whatever. It's like what the like? Why is it that big a fucking deal? Like, these guys taunt all sorts of bullshit all the time, but like apparently there was like it was a big deal that there was that there's a clip of Saban in a press conference pregame. Like, have you talked to your players about the horns down thing because you don't want to get a penalty? He's like, what are you talking about? And so like whoever the interviewer is or the press guy that's in this press conference or whatever is like, well, like the NCAA or maybe it's the Big 12 or whatever it is said that it would be a penalty. It would be a taunting penalty or something if you guys did the horns down, if you talked to your players about it. He's like, no, but I'm gonna.
No, that's it. I have no idea. Now I know. Well, I don't know. If you consider Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC because they've already committed, they're coming
right.
over. They're 5 of the top 10 are SEC teams now.
The current top 10.
Yeah, and 10 of the top 25 are SEC teams. That's pretty.
I mean, it's not abnormal for the last couple of years. I mean, that's the thing to me is like, is Tennessee? I mean, after beating Pittsburgh this week, I mean, Tennessee's going to be top 20.
Yeah,
they're
18.
Kentucky's top 25. I mean,
Kentucky's
Kentucky.
15.
Kentucky's ranked. Tennessee's ranked. Georgia, Alabama, Auburn probably ranked. I don't know.
Mississippi.
Ole Miss.
Yeah.
A&M shouldn't be ranked after that fucking bullshit.
They're still ranked.
But they'll probably still be ranked. I mean, I'd say the top 25. Yeah, you're probably looking at 8.
So, what do you think about the new format? It's like you predicted.
I mean, it's the logical. that was the point. Like that was my premise. Is that like this is the logical end to what we're talking about.
Top 6 conference winners go, and then the top 4.
I don't want a bigger
ranked.
tournament. I hate the idea of a bigger tournament.
Top 4 ranked after that go.
I don't like the idea of the bigger tournament,
6,
but I
sorry.
think it's inevitable. Like if this is if all that matters is a statistical way to get to a national champion, then it's inevitable.
Yeah.
That there's only going to be a couple of conferences left. And then it's get out of your conference, and then it doesn't matter anymore.
Well, it's not the top 6 conferences. It's the top 6 ranked teams. Conference winners.
Right, but again, it doesn't like it's if it's going to be a statistical game, it only matters if you're in the big show, and you're only in the big show if you're in the SEC, the ACC.
Well, no,
Big 10 or Big
it
12.
changes it because like if you're in Appalachian State and you're ranked 15, but in the SEC you have first, second, third. You have if the SEC has 5 teams ranked in the top 10. You just knocked out 4 spots. So that number 15 Appalachian State that won its conference could actually make it in the tournament because they are the top 6 ranked teams go to the tournament. And then you take the top 6 ranked teams that didn't win their conference. If that makes sense.
I mean, sort of, but I mean, I don't know. Because if you're App State and you're actually that good, you're better off being in the SEC and being 4th in the SEC.
No, you're not. You're not in this new system because they'll say number 1. Who's number 1? Did they win their conference? Okay, yeah, he did. Number 2, no, he didn't win his conference. He's not in. Number 3, they didn't win their conference. Number 4, they didn't win their conference. Number 5, he won his conference. He's in. So now you got 2 teams out of the top 5. And then you go through that till you get to 6. And then the next people are, okay, 2 didn't win his conference, but now he's in. Number 3's in, that kind of thing. And
right, but number 2, 3, and 4 are going to be in the SEC.
Yes, exactly.
So if you're App State and you're good enough to be top 3 or 4 in the SEC, you're better off than being
15 in the
15.
Well, they're going. Where are they going? I think, or they're staying. Oh, I can't remember. But then the interesting thing is the top 4 teams have a bye in the first week of the playoffs, and the 8 teams have a home game,
right?
Which is neat, and then the rest are bowl games.
I don't know. I just think I don't understand what the populace wants out of college football. I just don't get it.
I like it. I like a 12 team.
I don't want a fucking tournament. It just doesn't make sense for football's sake.
It does. It makes it more. You have a better. You're not going to have a number 5. Like if you're bitching you're not in the tournament, it's because you're number 13, not because you're number 5.
Yeah, but it's an exponential game. If you're number 3 and it's a 2-team tournament, which is what we're currently looking at, or well, if you're number 5 and it's a 4-team tournament, I should have been there.
Yeah.
If you're number 9 and it's an 18 tournament, well, it's not just number 9, but number 9 and 10 have an argument to be of the 8. Well, number 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 have an argument why they should be in the 12 team. Well,
yeah,
we're an 18 team, so now
there's less on that. I mean, I think there's less.
I think it grows
than a 5.
I think it's exponential.
No, I mean, basketball has never went over. Well, they go more than 64. They have those playing games.
But it's also fucking basketball. And I mean, and to be fair, like basketball, what's great about March Madness is how insane it is. Because there's no fucking way in a real world that what's all the Cinderella is always 32, or it's like a 16 plus rank, 16 to 20 ranked team. There's no way in the real world of the way basketball actually works that team has a shot in hell. But it's a 1-team tournament. Blah, 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 blah. That's not. I mean, that's just with the way football works. You can't play a multi-game tournament.
So I watch this guy
and get the reality on the table.
I follow this guy on TikTok that does. He's obviously from the South, and he always does like SEC. Like he starts out, and it's like he has like a hat on with says SEC, and then he like goes to like he's talking to coaches. And they're, so he's playing all the parts of like Alabama, blah blah blah. Like
I might have seen this one or something similar to it. But yeah,
and he breaks down every week like, how'd you do, blah blah blah. And he gets to Auburn. Auburn's like, we're a basketball school. You really can't be both. And it covers over Kentucky. They're like, we are.
I've seen. I don't know if I've seen the one you're talking about, but I've seen people that do it. There's an NFL guy that does one that's really good too, and he plays all the like this week. His joke was kickers, and he's like. First hat he's wearing is the NFL, and he's like, "You guys are really fucking this up." And it goes to it shows like the Pittsburgh kicker and the Cincinnati kicker and all the shit that was going on with that game, and then the Titans kicker and the Denver kicker and the 64-yard.
Fucking 64, you about hit that?
Yeah, but
Jesus,
it goes to us. It's like, there's people that really don't want you guys to exist. But you're here, and we really want you to be here because this is part of the game and we think it's important, but you guys are really not helping the argument out right now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so there's a couple of good takes.
Cincinnati missing the extra point. Jesus. Yeah. Jeez, I could imagine
I would have at least one team left in last man.
Can you imagine those fans in the fucking stadium jumping up and down? They just scored to tie the game, going to overtime.
I had an offer for tickets to the Titans game. I got a text on at like noon on Sunday. It's like, hey, I got a couple extra tickets. If you want to come to Nashville, it's like, fuck, I got shit to do. I got scouts.
Shit to do.
I had scouts. I've got shit. I've got a schedule today, and it ain't going to Nashville. One day, eventually, when my kids are complete losers and I don't have anything to do with them, I can get the fuck out. But not today. And so, I would have been pissed to have been there because I would have been there knowing that I had them as last man, and I would have been throwing shit. I would have been mad. I would have been real fucking mad. All right, Sam, what's our Florida story for the week?
Haven't come across
I
one
gave
this
you an
week.
assignment.
Was that an assignment?
Yeah, I said we were going to make you closing with a Florida man story a regular occurrence.
Oh, shit. I mean, I can find an old one, probably.
I don't know. What's your news of the weird? I mean, that's really what it was. It wasn't necessarily a Florida man. It was what's something stupid that you heard about this week that you want to talk about? I'm making you the bait. My goal here is to make you the bait for people to hang out to the very end. Because they want to hear the amazing story that you found. That is worth sitting through the 2 hours of turkey and whatever the fucking else bullshit that we've talked about for the last whatever. I'm trying to make this worth people's time, and I'm depending on you. You are.
Do you know what ICYMI means?
No, I
It's
don't.
an
Please.
acronym for, in case you missed it.
Okay.
Apparently it was added to
So closing segment is now, in case you missed it, ICYMTP. I got to pee really bad.
Well, there were two people that were removed from the stands at the U.S. Open.
Okay.
The tennis Open, apparently. They decided to be funny. I think they have some kind of like YouTube channel or some shit. Where they
The people that got kicked out or the U.S. Open does?
The people that got kicked out. The U.S. Open probably has their own channel.
Okay. So they got kicked out of the U.S. Open.
For one guy had a barber's bib and all, was cutting a guy's hair in the stands. And they came and kicked him out. But apparently they go to events and just kind of do wild and crazy things anyway, just to get attention.
Have you seen the walk-off? Like your TikTok-y dorkness might have seen these. There's the step-off challenge. And there's a... it may or may not be affiliated with Barstool Sports. I'm not 100%. But it's a group of guys that have gotten their press passes for golf. And they go to golf tournaments as press. And, they'll go and they'll sit in press conferences and ask some really funny questions or whatever. But they also do I'm pretty sure that's you, Max. They'll also do especially when it's like a celebrity, like charity tournament, they'll buy a hole as a sponsorship. And they'll sit at the tee box and they'll talk shit to the people that are about to tee off. And the whole thing is like we're trying to get you to back off. And so when you line up on the ball, our whole goal is to say something so ridiculous that you step back and go, okay, I got to recollect myself, and then come back up. And it's it's a funny ass group of dudes. It's just like people making fun of the way they're dressed or making fun of whatever else. Like so, there's one where they're trying to get Bill Burr at the celebrity golf tournament to back off his ball, and the whole time Bill Burr's like, "What do you guys do?" And he's lining up and he's like doing the little wiggle, getting ready, and they're saying stupid shit, making fun of him being bald or whatever. And he's like, "Should I have heard of you guys?" Whack. And so it's the whole thing is them trying to get people to back off it. And it's really funny. Like there's a Charles Barkley one where they're making fun of Charles Barkley and like you have the weirdest backswing ever or whatever, and he's like, "Put money, bitches." And there's like the best one is they're trying to make fun of John Daly. John Daly's lining up and he's doing this whole thing. And it's like John Daly, like redneck bullshit, and they're talking all this shit to John Daly. He's doing. He's like, boom, and like as soon as he touches the ball, he looks back at him. Money, and they're all watching the ball go. It's like, holy shit, that's funny as fuck. Like it's a really funny little sketch thing making fun of that. Just kind of making like it's fun to me because golf is so serious. Like we were talking about chess earlier, and these guys just like we're gonna make like normal people play golf. We're going to make it normal. That's what they do. It's pretty funny. What else you got? Sam, last call?
The Ravens mascot's heading to injured reserve with drumstick injury.
I did hear about that. That was in that they were playing with the Pee Wee kids.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a joke or not.
They're playing with Pee Wee kids. He blew out his ACL.
Yeah, I don't know if it was he actually got hurt, like the mascot.
I watched it. I saw the video of it. It looked pretty, like he got jacked. That's coming back from, I can't remember what it was. It's one of those, like, there's a bunch of mascots playing. And I can't remember who it was, like, stiff-armed a kid. I was like, damn, that's a kid. And then the kid came back and jacked the fucking mascot up.
That's funny.
So. All right, people, last call. Anything else? Anything exciting? Anything important that we missed? We didn't talk city council. We didn't talk anything local. You motherfuckers.
That's why it was such a good show.
Knox County, City of Knoxville says abortion is important. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, they saved the trees. There's only one. We're only losing one tree in that park, in the downtown park. So yeah, those that.
Oh, saving one tree. Is that what you said?
We're only losing one tree.
Oh, losing one tree.
I haven't checked on Bexhill in a while though. I should have checked on that before we started. So anyway, Bexhill sucks. Outro. Almost in agreement, bitches. Get excited. Well, not really. We're excited. So you Happy Holler people out there that like to get downtown and do the new Happy Holler and all the cool shit that's going on in there, look out for the new fan club from Fnatic and a new E-Vape down there, and it's pirate themed. It's going to be cool, and we're going to have mango chili, bitches, and it's going to be good with corn and other shit. Almost Agreement at gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go to our website, Almost Agreement. Check out the Voter Guide 22. I'm going to have links to all the different candidates that I interview in the process. And like I said, I got Becky Massey coming in on Monday. She is going to help me get a real breakdown of these 4 ballot items that we're looking at, and I'll put a link to that show on that section as well. Go to your favorite podcast provider, give us a like, share, tell your friends about us, do that whole thing. I don't know. We're going to try to help get better at understanding things and whatnot. Anyway, this weird new rum that Jesse from The Compass told me about is really good. Check out Compass Points Podcast. That's another Barbarian production that we do. So anyway, Almost Agreement, everybody. Thanks for listening. After that first one, that rum really started going